Today we come together to celebrate the life of Reed. We come together to remember, to pay tribute, and yes, to also grieve. What a privilege is mine to have been asked to take this service. I remember well the first time meeting Reed. What touched me the greatest was of Reed's big heart. A very introspective young man, filled with humor, an amazing soul. On behalf of Reed's family, I want to thank you all for your presence here. And I'm sure Reed would say to us, thank you for being here to remember the young man that I was, and thank you for being here to support my family. It was an honor to know Reed. His memory will continue to live in our hearts. His presence was a gift in our world. His soul has moved on, though he will always be with us. His life on earth was short, though his impact grand, and his spirit lives on in the hearts of the many lives he has touched. The loss of a child at any age is devastating and life-changing. As parents, our love for our children does not diminish. Once our child reaches adulthood, this type of loss represents a deviation from the natural order of things, the way life is supposed to happen. The loss of a child is an acute, unique loss that's hard to understand. There are so many things in life that we're unable to understand, and this loss is one of them. It goes against our human grain to simply accept without trying to make sense of them, though this is one of those times when we just have to accept that we are unable to explain why. We don't have all the answers, though we can rest in assurance that God is worthy of our trust during our confusion. We are all here because we love Reed and the Baldwin family. And in a few moments, you will have a chance to stand up for Reed and remind us of the gift we have in knowing Reed. We love Reed because of who he was. We miss Reed because of who he was. And we are here because of who Reed was. Connie is going to share with us now.
Thank you all for being here and for these last months of care and support. Brick and I don't know where we'd be if we didn't have all of you. Reed would not have enjoyed all this attention and fuss. No. But he would enjoy knowing how many of you truly cared for him and appreciated all that he was. I sometimes get asked, how am I still standing after Reed's loss? And the answer, even after 3 months and all the evidence to the contrary, is it often feels like this is happening to someone else. I feel like I'm helping the old Connie who never knew sorrow like this. Like I would help a friend. I'm hiding in a caregiving role that is familiar to me, while the real me hides in a cowardly corner. When the new Connie does decide to come out and face reality, I hope you'll be patient with her. She's gonna be a freaking mess. The old Connie wrote a love letter to Reed almost 4 years ago, but never sent it to him because he was wanting to be his own man and not be mothered or overparented, as he was fond of saying. We knew there were struggles in his life, but the more we tried to intervene, the farther he backed away. So we loved him from afar and eagerly walked into his life when he occasionally opened the door. He wanted complete independence, and we only saw him every few weeks or so. He'd been paying for his own food and rent since he was 19. Last December, he hit a low point and finally reached out to us for help and was soon diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Once on the correct medication, everything changed for the better. There was a sparkle in his eyes, ready laughter at the dinner table, energy to start and finish projects. He was eating better to regain his health, and there was a talk of a future he was excited about. Although written 4 years ago, this love letter to Reed still rings true. God puts people in our life to teach us, and Reed was an excellent teacher to this slow-learning pupil. I didn't send this letter to him then, but I hope he's listening now. When I catch my breath, I plan to write a love letter to Ruby and tell her everything that is in my heart. And this time, I'm going to give it to her because she needs to know all the beautiful things she's brought to my life too, before it's too late. Here's the letter I wrote to Reed on December 2nd, 2017. Dear Reed, I loved having you visit for Thanksgiving. I loved hearing you play guitar and talk about music to Babushka. I loved having your energy in the house again, strong, witty, wise, searching, and sometimes fragile. I loved seeing you laugh. I loved your moments of honesty. I loved knowing a little bit more about who you are becoming. Thank you. When we were going around the table at the restaurant talking about what we're thankful for, I didn't tell the whole story. There are a lot of things I wanted to say, but I didn't want to get mushy or teary-eyed because I know it makes you uncomfortable. I wanted to tell you I'm thankful that you are becoming the teacher and I the student. I wanted to tell you that I am grateful I was chosen to be your mom. I wanted to tell you how thankful I am that you opened your life to us for a few days. I wanted to thank you for your kindness to Ruby before her jazz solo. I am thankful that you are you. So what do I mean about you becoming the teacher? You and Ruby are growing up and I am lost. I don't know what my purpose is. I spent so much time taking care of everyone else that I find I need to do some overdue soul searching, and along comes you, showing me how. Your choice to follow your passion to make music is brave and inspiring. It would be easy to take the all-expense-paid route to a college degree and figure out life later like many do, but you've chosen to do some of the hard work now. I think that is a great and gutsy thing to do. I admire the choice, even if I wished it happened in a different way. You are teaching me to let go of the box that family society tells us we must fit in and rethink what happiness means. You are teaching me that status quo is meant to be questioned even on a minute level. You are teaching me to shut up and listen instead of trying to fix things. You're teaching me to take time now to build a life that feeds my soul as you are trying to do. You are teaching me the things that helped me through life are not one size fits all, and that many of them don't fit you. You're teaching me I must let go and let you and Ruby be who you are, beautiful, imperfect, authentic, confused, strong, fragile, gifted, and most importantly, different than me. Your journey is not my journey, and that is as it should be. You're teaching me new genres of music that I really enjoy. You're teaching me how few things one needs to be content. You're teaching me that feeding your soul is more important than feeding your body. You are teaching me I need to surrender to the choices you make so you have room to grow. You're teaching me to start looking for myself, and you're teaching me to do it now. I believe the road you are on is not as easy as others you could have chosen, but I truly believe it will take you somewhere important. You're going to learn things you're supposed to learn, and that knowledge will take you somewhere wonderful. I know not everything is where you want it to be right now, but you have plenty of time to get there. Ultimately, you will be glad you took this time. Every person who wants to live a truly satisfying life must earn a degree in life experiences. I don't want you to be 55 and still trying to figure things out. I want you to live more fully sooner. I want you to find joy in a career that feeds your soul. I want you to find someone who wants and deserves the beauty of your heart when you choose to give it. I want you to be healthy, happy, and excited about the future. I'm thankful for you, my teacher, who is showing me so many things. We are both searching and struggling in different ways, but I hope we can love and appreciate each other while we're doing it. Will you come and teach me more at Christmas? I'm a visual learner. Love, Mom, the woman who thinks you're very extraordinary.
And now Brad, going to come up and share.
Let me get this a little bit first. My brother asked me to read his piece for him, and I'm happy to do it. Before I start this, I just wanted to share one of my last memories with Reed. I was here visiting, I don't know, it was a couple years ago, and we were up in the house, and I forgot what Reed was doing. He was moving from one place to another or something. He had these big crates of record albums. And I was like, wow. Because I remember when I was young and in the music like he was, and I used to have a gigantic record collection. And then people that are old enough out there remember when all of a sudden CDs came out and they're like, oh, records are obsolete. Throw the turntable out. Ed saw it's yesterday's news. That's a typewriter. And then I see him having all these albums. What are you doing with all these albums? He goes, oh no, they're cool, they're great. They play sound so good, and he'd become this audiophile, and it's just so weird to me. A kid this young and this generation was into all that, and I'm looking through his records, and it's just all this crazy old stuff that I remember. And then I started going through. It was like Parliament, Funkadelic, another Parliament, two more Parliaments. And I go, how do you know what Parliament and Funkadelic is? And are you serious? I don't know any kid that age that was into Parliament and Funkadelic. Especially some nerdy white guy from Mill Creek. And so he's like, oh yeah, it's great. And I was just like, wow, this is crazy. And so I really got to get an appreciation of just what an old soul he was, and just what a lover of learning and knowledge and just researching the world, especially music. And he had such a love and passion for it. It was just really cool to see that. So I just remember walking away, just blown away by that. So I want to share what my brother wrote, and see if I can get through it. I tried a few times ahead of time to make sure I could. First off, Burke wants to thank everyone that showed up today and every day of Reed's wonderful life. Reed used to tell me when he was younger, no one likes me. Seeing everyone here today is overwhelming proof that this is far from the truth. He is loved by so many. I also want to say a special thank you to a mother, an angel, named Shannon. She was the beautiful soul that ran to Reed to hold him in his last moments, to comfort him before he left us. Reed's 23rd birthday will be here in 4 days, which is 3.5 months after we lost him. When I look back, I think about all that has already been missed. Mother's Day, where Connie did not get to see his smiling face with a hug. Sure, he would have come by to see his mother, but he would have been in a hurry to get back to his Dungeons and Dragons game with his buddies. He would have enjoyed the whole day with family and friends, and Connie loves him so. At Birdwell Machine, he would have perfected another computer program to make precision parts in the large CNC machine. Mike and John would be giving him all the freedom and knowledge he needed to become an amazing machinist. He was hoping for another raise soon for his great progress, and I was so proud of what he was able to do at work and how he enjoyed it so much. I just cannot thank the Birdwells enough for how they accepted him as one of them. Reed made a part for me one day to get one of our antique cars back on the road that his grandfather restored. His grandfather would have been so proud of him. Father's Day. I miss getting a big hug from him. This year I would have talked to him into a hike where at the end I'd be in wonder of how he would look at the view and feel inspired. And during the drive, he would have shared music with me and tell me the story of why it was such great music. Oh, and the podcasts he would have me listen to were so fun and interesting. He opened my ears to so much, and I thank him. And for my birthday, he would have been a little late because he was deep in music production at his command center he built in his lair. He was so proud. And as he said, I make beats, play bass, and vomit on my mics. His music is my playlist. And during dinner, we would listen to Ruby and him get along into long conversations, and I would be amazed how their knowledge and appreciation of each other had grown. My kids are my pride. And for Reed's 23rd birthday, we would have had a hard time scheduling time to celebrate it. And with the opening from COVID, Reed would have been wanting to attend a live concert to either play the bass or be there to support a fellow musician. I would ask if we can attend too, and his response would have been, "Dad, it's not your kind of music." I would have been the old dude in the back of the room with a big smile on his face. He loved music so much. 3 years ago, I had to have hip replacement surgery, and before I went for it, I wrote a personal letter to Ruby, Connie, and Reed just in case something went awry. I don't remember what I wrote, but I want to open it now and to share with Reed because I know he's here with us listening. It's dated April 8th, 2019. So it was actually 2 years old, Bert, not 3 years. Dear Reed, I am so proud of you and what you are able to do. There is so much you will do with your life, and you will be amazing. And I'm sure that will all be wonderful. My dad has been gone for 21 years, and I miss him every day. I also know he is part of me and still can share my life. This is the same as you and me. You are my son, and that won't change. It makes more sense when you are a dad. Someday you will meet someone that is a perfect partner to you. Your mom was that person for me. Respect them and respect love. Don't ever compromise who you are. Keep playing music and doing the things that bring you joy. Step away from anything that you know is wrong. Enjoy simplicity, explore nature, and love life. Love, Dad. There will be a lifetime of special moments missed with Reed, but he will always be with me every day going forward. I find comfort in the 22 years of memories I have with him. I cherish every day of happiness, laughter and frustrations and love. And with the help of all of you, his memory will live on. Thank you, everyone.
Reed, we are gathered here for you, our son, our brother, cousin, our nephew, our grandson, and our friend. Reed's light is shining down upon us. I encourage you to have faith. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. God is a good God, a merciful God, and a gracious God. We are assured Reed has passed from death to life. Leslie will now come up and share.
Good afternoon. My name is Leslie Moffat, and I was Reed's and Ruby's high school band director. So I got to be in Reed's happy place for 4 years. 0 period before school, he's there at 6:30 in the morning to play his guitar, to play some bass, to jam with his friends. Then he'd come back later in the day. And I know it was his happy place because I saw him in his creative zone. He could express himself. And today I look out and I feel like I should take attendance because I see all the kids that surrounded him every day. He had the most true and real friends, and they are here. And I know Brick talked a minute ago about, he said he didn't have friends, but you see them all here, and I saw them with him and surrounding him every day in that band room. Music was where he expressed himself, and he brought so much to us. And Connie asked me to read a poem, and she sent it to me the other day, and I will be sharing that with you in a moment. And as I read it the very first time, I read it and I said, I swear, it's Reed talking to Connie. It's called Death is Nothing at All by Henry Scott Holland. Death is nothing at all. It does not count. I have only slipped away into the next room. Nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you. And the old life we lived so fondly together is untouched, unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, we still are. Call me by the old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way you used to. Put no difference in your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without effort and without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is absolute and unbroken continuity. What is this death but a negligible accident? Why should I be out of mind? Because I am out of sight. I am but waiting for you, for an interval, somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well. Nothing is hurt. Nothing is lost. One brief moment and it will all be as it was before. Oh, how we shall laugh at the trouble of parting when we meet again.
Now Nick will come up and share.
Hi everyone. I'm Nick. Like you just said, I grew up right next to Reed. He was my best friend my whole life. I don't have all that much to say, but I'll have some stories later I'll share. But I was also asked to read a poem, and I'll be sharing that with you as well. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not here. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am diamond glints on the snow. I am the sunlight on ripened rain. when you awaken in the morning, hush, and I am the swift uplifting rush of the quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Thank you.
The Baldwin family is deeply grateful for the unbelievable support they received in establishing Reed Scholarship and Grant Fund. The scholarship through Everett Public Schools is now called the Reed Baldwin Red Fellowship, and the first two recipients received a $1,000 scholarship in June. It is set up to be a perpetual scholarship, so many students over the years will benefit. And the family has more ideas in the works to honor the band and robotics programs that gave Reed so much joy and fellowship during his high school years. And now I would like to share the lyrics of Reed's song titled Blackjack. This is from his Peppermint album. What do I gotta fear? I got my family and my friends who got me here, so thanks. Couldn't have done it without you. Took a couple of years of stumbling, but I think I finally got something to be proud of. Thanks to all those who I kept sending shit to. Thanks to those who stayed cool, even though they thought I was whack. I mean, I am, but I still appreciate it. Thanks, family, most of all, for putting up with me. Past few years have been a roller coaster, and they had to deal with my lowest low. And now Graydon, Reed's high school mentor and friend, will start the sharing.
Hi everyone, I'm Graydon, like all of you, a friend of Reed's. We're going to have an open mic tribute, and I'm going to start things off with some music, and if you have a story, poem, memories, music, anything really you'd like to share, we'd all love to hear it. Thank you, I'll be right back. I chose this song because ever since I heard it about 7 years ago for the first time, it's always reminded me of Reed. He didn't only find, worlds within the music he listened to, but he also made it in the music that he made. Also, he uses a capo, and although I'd been using a capo for years before I met him, he taught me how to properly use one. See how it's on there straight and it looks good? I would just kind of slap it on there, kind of diagonal, maybe on two different lines. Strings would be all out. I'm like, yeah, I'll retune it. But I did it in front of Reed one time, and he laughed. And because he thought I was joking, like genuinely. And so I was like, huh? And he's like, oh, Graydon, you silly goose. That's not what you're supposed to do. And thank you. Ever since then, I've done it properly. not sleepy, and there is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle jangle morning, I'll come following you. Though I know that evening's empire has written in the sand, has vanished from my hands, left me blindly here to stand, but still not sleeping. My weariness amazes me, I'm branded on my feet, and I have no one to meet, and these ancient empty streets too tired for dreaming. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy, and there is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle jangle morning, I'll come following you. Take me on a trip upon your magic swirling ship. All my senses have been stripped. My hands can't feel the grip. My toes too numb to step. Waiting only on my boot heels to be wandering. Now I'm ready to go anywhere. I'm ready for it to fade into my own parade. Oh, cast your dancing spell my way. I promise to go under it. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle jangle morning, I'll come following you. In the jingle jangle morning, I'll come following you. Take me disappearing through the smoke rings of my mind, down the foggy ruins of time, far past the frozen leaves, the haunted frightened trees, out to the windy beach, far beyond the twisted reach of crazy sorrow. Yes, to dance beneath the diamond sky with one hand waving free, silhouetted by the sea, circled by the circus sands, with all memory and fate driven deep beneath the waves. Oh, let me forget about today until tomorrow. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. Now I'm not sleepy, and there is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle jangle morning, I'll come following you. Is there anyone else who'd like to come on up? Yeah.
How's it going, guys? I'm Grant. I'm Reed's cousin. I didn't have anything written, but I know Reed would come up, or would appreciate if I come up here and just wing it for him, because that's what he liked to do. You know, he never planned ahead. You know, we endured all of our family events together, and you know, I love him a lot. Yeah. He was the closest thing I had to a brother, and he I mean, I'm sure inspired us all musically. He was beyond talented. He was brilliant, and he was taken way too soon. So, I have a little spoken word poem I wrote for him. Before it starts and it's already over, I'm so hurt. We're so hurt. Your star didn't have your moment. No closure. It just hurts. Torn apart, your family must be. Life's a bitch, there's always something. On our way to some days real painful. Gets dark fast, so let's be careful. On our way to some days. On our way to some days real painful, yeah. Thank you guys, and I love you guys so much.
I get to tell an embarrassing story because I'm one of Ruby and Reed's crazy aunties. Each one of you can probably think of something that reminds you of Reed. Take a few seconds and close your eyes and think of it now, if you care to. For me, that something, my Reed trigger, will always be bacon. As a boy, Reed was what some would call a fussy eater, or a super taster, as the band They Might Be Giants would say. But he loved bacon. During the spring of 2009, the Baldwins visited my family in western Massachusetts, and one day we arranged to meet my aunt and uncle at a restaurant in central Massachusetts for a brunch. It was an all-you-care-to-eat buffet. While Ruby was still young enough to require assistance at the buffet table, the older cousins, 11-year-olds Reed and Izzy, were allowed the thrill of selecting their own breakfast. Reed arrived at the dining table with his plate piled about 4 inches high with nothing but bacon. We all had a really good belly laugh, although at least one member of the Baldwin family was completely horrified. I adore this memory, partly because it still makes me laugh 12 years later, but mostly because of the enthusiasm and joy that was behind the act of piling an obscene amount of bacon on one's plate. I can imagine Reed's excitement and anticipation of taking as much as you want of anything you want, and that feeling being so strong that he ignored the little parent angel on his left shoulder, telling him to cool it, and listened instead to the impish angel on his right shoulder. I imagine his eyes growing wide upon seeing a serving dish loaded with crispy and warm bacon, and just deciding to go for it. That excitement and enthusiasm was applied to other things as Reed grew older: Legos, robotics, gaming, and of course music. I'm choosing that breakfast moment as the part of Reed I will commit to memory. The joyful enthusiasm he exhibited about things is just a beautiful memory. Reed, may your plate be ever filled of bacon and other things that delight you. Thanks.
My name is Joe, friend of Reed's since the start of high school, and I never really realized at the point, like, there wasn't a set point at which I became, Reed became, like, one of my best friends. I never, like, there was, like, a set moment, but just, I realized by looking back on everything, I was hanging out with this guy every week or 2 weeks. We were texting when we should have been working about music we were working on. And I just wanted to share a bit about the last conversation I had with him. We were working on an album together. Well, it was his album. I was just helping him out. He had asked. He said he was working through a lot of tough themes, and it was going to bring up a lot of stuff that he wasn't super comfortable dealing with by himself. So he asked, and I said, of course, I'd be more than willing to help you out with it. And we've been working on some music and starting to write out some lyrics and stuff, and we got on the topic of just loneliness. And just he's like, sometimes I just feel really alone. And so we were going through and we're talking through all the people in his life who he does have. We talked about his family, how much he loves them, and all the support that he's given him. About you, Nick, he was just like, oh yeah, I don't consider Nick a friend, I consider him a brother. And the very end, we're talking, and we've been sharing back and forth stories from our life that have helped us feel not alone. And then said, I love you. And he said, I love you. And we hugged, and I'm really glad that was my last conversation with him. So, thank you.
Hi, I'm Ainsley. I met Reed in first grade in Mrs. Willie's class, and I wrote a poem based on so many childhood memories. So, Reed. Handmade t-shirts for field trips that now serve as sleep shirts when dug from the depths of a childhood dresser. And now smell somehow like finger paints, music and laughing and lunchboxes. Parties in the barn. Grilled cheese sandwiches and pepperoni pizza, and sledding into the meadow in those muffled white winters. Come along for adventure time. Further back, Mrs. Willie's classes, popcorn and Halloween, karate lessons in the barn, pensive moments on the swing set, SpongeBob and Pink Panther in the backseat all the way to Alki Beach for your birthday with your cousins. Ice cream, an apple pie, and memes, diabetes, lost parties, election nights in the home theater, dinner gatherings and cabbie events in Cedarwood, Forest View, Gateway, and Heatherwood. Jackson in a track meet, having band during the same class period. Christmas cookies and cookie dough, and New Year's, year after year, apples to apples, then slightly cringy rounds of Cards Against Humanity. Even after wisdom tooth surgery. And in years past, Rick and Ken singing Sexy Back, all the karaoke. All the giggles from 3 families. Go ahead, be gone with it. Campfires, Jetta, Blazer, looking after Ruby as she grew into the amazing woman we all knew that she would be. Endless numbered summer days spent among families. We belonged, we were safe, to grow and flourish happily. We were closer when we were younger, but your family is my family. I love them as they love you. You're passing a true tragedy. Wherever you are, I hope that you're blissfully happy, drinking root beer and maybe listening to the Pixies. Oh, Reed, where is my mind? You will not be forgotten. It's impossible with all the love that follows you, that abundance which you don't have to look for in order to find. I have felt and will always feel your presence in a pastoral presence made of memories of times gone by every time I decide to play the piano cover of Where Is My Mind. For your love of Surfer Rosa was strong and justified. I wish I had known you better, closer to the end of the ties that tie and bind our carbon to the soil, as we sleep, sweat, and toil from cells to ashes, You have completed the cycle and the journey back to being the celestial stardust of which our universe is comprised. You are beyond, and all the love that follows is steadfast. I will always have the memories of a shared childhood, a fondness for the family friend who is a character, truly one of a kind, from beginning to end. Thank you.
It's been a while since I've been able to say hi to the Brick family. But much like Joe, I don't quite remember exactly when I considered Reed one of my best friends. I do remember when I first met him though, on my sophomore year, and I do remember like a magnet. He just, like a true creative, he pulled us into his world. He invited us over for games and parties. And the three things that I know that he adored was community around a game, magic, was his love for computers, software, and engineering, and his love for music. And even if he didn't always feel like he had friends, and I know that was something that worried his mother, I can remember a time where we were talking in the kitchen and she was worried for him. He didn't necessarily always have the strongest belief in himself, the courage. But he was strong, and I made a promise to her that we, as his friends, would always be there for him. And my only regret is that I wasn't able to talk to him more before his passing. Ironically, this is the first time I've really stopped crying. He never really understood, maybe, how much he meant to us. But I'll always think of him as a light. He was a candle that was growing into his own rather than shrinking away from it. And I knew that he just needed to feel the community and belief that we had in him. And I'm glad to know that from others' testimony that he did find something that he could be proud of. And I will miss him.
While we're waiting for our next performance, I'd like to share a story about something I know you're all familiar with, Reed's laughter, which was the most contagious thing ever. Might be an ill-timed thing to say that, but never mind. So we went to the same college, and a lot of the time he would come over to an apartment we had off campus, And I had this roommate who was just the classic cool college dude. He had the Pink Floyd poster. He had the one with the Led Zeppelin guy holding the scythe with the lyrics to Stairway to Heaven, and a bunch of vinyl. So Reed would come over, we'd listen to vinyl, we'd talk. But one time we were hanging out on the balcony, and it was just the end of finals week. We were all just de-stressing. And my roommate came in. He's like, I did it. I passed. I had this final. I needed a 74% to get a 70 flat in the class. It was out of 100, so I needed 74%. I needed like 76 points. And Reed just instantly was on the ground, just bellowing. And it was just what everyone needed to cap that stressful quarter. It was winter, the most stressful one. There was no sun ever. But then just at that moment, it was just light. It was bright. It was just perfect. Would anyone care to share a quick story while we're waiting on our next performance? Thank you, Nick.
Mine's not super short, but it's also not too long. So I hurried off stage last time because I was sad. But I'm back. I do have a lot of stories. And yeah, like I said, I grew up just over there. Reed was very much my best friend. I talked with him almost every single day, for the most part. So it was really hard for me, like for the last couple months. Like I knew I wanted to share something, but it's like, holy crap! There's my entire life. Like, what do I share, right? So I didn't think of anything. So instead, I had a going list on my phone, because I had to do it on my phone, because all the time I would just think of things, of what I think of when I think of Reed. And these are the stupidest and silliest things, but that's exactly how I would remember Reed. So I'm going to try to go in a bit of a chronological order, because that's the easiest for me. But I remember being downstairs in the family room and playing the same 60-second demo level of Burnout Paradise on loop over and over and over. And I seriously did this for 3 or 4 days, just over and over, trying to finally beat the level. And when we did, it was this huge euphoric moment. And Reed and I used to always just play video games, and I'd be sitting on the couch and Reed would be standing an inch away from the TV, just bouncing the whole time, holding his controllers, anticipating the next moment in the game. And with that, in the same moment, I think of all the times as kids when Reed would be like watching TV or playing a game, and you go, "Oh, hey Reed, hey Reed, hey Reed," and he would just be so into it and just with no idea anything was going on. And I remember this moment in like preschool, kindergarten, when someone else had to get Reed's attention that didn't know him, and they were like, "Hey Reed," and he didn't say anything, and she looked at me and was like, "Did he hear me?" And I was like, oh yeah, that's just Reed. Just keep saying his name. He'll pick it up eventually. And I always I think it's hilarious how I just kind of normalized that in my head and forgot that it was something that not everyone had. Let's see. Reed and I used to do a lot of art. We used to do a lot of drawing. Particularly Reed. I wasn't as talented. But I remember this time that we drew a bunch of cars, and we were going to sell them in the backyard to our moms, because who else would buy these, right? So we have all these drawings we've prepared, and our moms help us pitch up this like folding table kind of thing, and we were like sold them like they were like, oh well, here's $5, and Reed was like, no, this is worth like 20. This is a $20 picture. And I remember there was a bunch of haggling. Eventually ended up being $15. It's how much our moms had to buy this silly like terrible crayon and colored pencil drawing of a car. It was like a dragon car. And then like another one of them had like really big on the bottom, not for resale, because obviously someone would sell that, right? Gosh, yeah, that was another great one. I remember mine and Reed's first real fight. His dad asked, "Hey, can you guys wash the car?" Like, simple thing. It was the same day. The car was dirty. Okay, cool. So we go and wash the car, have a great time. We finished washing the car, and Reed just goes inside. I was like, we have to pick it all up. We have to put away the hose. We have to put all the stuff. Reed's like, no, it's fine. My dad will do it. And I'm like, no, like, we gotta do this. And I was so mad at Reed because he just went inside, and I spent the next 20 minutes cleaning up all the crap that he just left there. And then we didn't talk for like this is like 4th grade maybe. Like we're little kids, and I didn't talk to him for like 6 months. I was so mad at him. And we made up, and everything's fine. Gosh, okay, let me keep scrolling here. I'm flicking through and crossing off all the ones I've already read as we go. I remember we used to have this computer downstairs that we play video games on all the time. Reading video games hand in hand. And this was right when Minecraft was really big, and we were also super into Adventure Time. Like we both put on Adventure Time costumes for Christmas or Halloween, same thing. And I remember we wanted to build Finn's treehouse, and we were working on it for a while, and we were like, okay, let's step back, let's look at this for a moment. And I don't remember which one of us said it, but one of us, I think it might have been me, goes, it's lacking like tree-ness. And we realized that treeness rhymed with penis, and we laughed at it for the next like 10 minutes and joked about it for the next several months about treeness. Treeness. I thought it was very much the funniest thing ever. I'm running low. I'm almost out, I promise. But a couple more of the hilarious ones is still from childhood. I remember whenever I'd be invited over for dinner, the hardest part was the vegetables, as this family surely knows. And so we'd all have dinner together. It'd be nice. We'd have stuff. And then Reed would be sitting there with his like green beans or whatever, or his broccoli. And he wasn't allowed to leave the table until he ate his vegetables, right? A damn good rule. But I would eat my vegetables because I was good. And I'd eat my vegetables. So I would go upstairs, play Xbox for like half an hour, eventually come downstairs, Reed, can you eat your vegetables? And he'd just be like poking at it with a fork, like, yeah, maybe. And then I sometimes like I would bargain with Connie, like, can I just eat like half of them? And like we'd eat them together. And she's like, fine, just yeah, go for it. And so eventually, after like 45 minutes of fighting, I would get Reed upstairs and we could finally play Xbox again. That was always a haul. So that was all like middle school, elementary school, which is funnily the things I remember the most is like, when I think of Reed, I think of like 6th or 7th grade Reed with a big bowl haircut, and that's when we spent a lot of our time. I mean, we always spent a lot of time together. But moving into the later years, in high school, I remember Fallout 4 coming out, which, if you don't know Reed, he's a huge fan of the Fallout series, and he and I used to play it all the time together. And the game came out, but I was cheap. I didn't have a lot of money. I want to buy the game. But Reed told me, oh, I'll just buy it for you. I was like, oh, no, don't worry about it. And that night I got a gift, $60 video game. Like in high school, $60 is like an incredible amount of money. And not only did he buy it for me, he also bought it for himself, right? So this guy just like dug deep, gave me $60, which in high school, again, is like, holy crap. I still think of that very, very fondly of like, this guy really dug deep for his friends. He wanted his friends to be happy and like to experience what he wanted them to experience. That's a lot of like what I struggle with now is like taking care of myself. And Reed was always pushing me like, dude, just buy that. It's good for you. Or like, go do that. You want to go do that. And so I still look back on that in similar events. And then more to the more recent times. So I moved to Spokane for a while, and I was very alone. And this is also a time I'm sure Reed is feeling pretty alone. And we realized like, hey, we both kind of play Civ, so every single night, me, Reed, and my girlfriend would hop on Civ 6, and we'd be playing Civ. Like, it was hilarious. Anna, my partner, she would get home from work, and we'd like quickly make and eat dinner so we could go play Civ with Reed. And we did this for like 3 months straight. Like every single night we were playing Civ with Reed. And he used to, I mean, we talked all the time during that because it was like every night. It's a slow game. You have a lot of talking space. And one of the things that I've shared with my family, and I think they've shared it as well, was around Connie's birthday. Reed had gotten her flowers, and he was telling us about how happy he was. He finally was doing something for his mom, and like how silly he feels. Like, people are gonna think I'm getting these for a girl. I'm gonna be so embarrassed. And he was telling us, he's like 27 years old. He's like, an adult, and he's like, I was still really embarrassed and like scared and going to the store and buying flowers, and we just kind of laughed at it with them. We're like, oh yeah, we know what you mean. I think of that one very fondly. And I think of the last night I talked to Reed. It was the night before the accident, and as always, we were playing Civ. And I don't know how we got on the topic, but we just listened to this god awful album. This neo funk mixed with punk rock mixed with metal. It was like this album was everywhere, and we played it like 3 times in a row, just like losing our minds at how terrible but hilarious this album was. And yeah, it just. Oh yeah, let me listen to a podcast about Colonel Sanders and his strange upbringing, which is like very Reed to me. Colonel Sanders is a very weird man. If you don't know, Reed would have loved to have told you about it. There's a lot of history there. But yeah, it's been a lot over this time, and just like, you'd think that I'd have some grandiose story about like going and playing a show with Reed, because he would often play bass in the band, and so it's like you'd think there'd be this like, oh, we traveled all the way over to this island and played these shows and everything, but like I was said earlier, the things that are sticking with you, like what I think of when I think of Reed, are all these silly things I just read off to you, and happily they're all good, happy thoughts of Reed being a dork. So yeah, that's all I had. I appreciate all your time and you being here.
So just use the black one? Hi everyone, I'm Todd. That's Uncle Todd to Ruby and Reed, and I was present at the bacon incident, so I can tell you what happened. You can't unsee that. Did you want to, or we were all a little jealous of Reed's. I want to say chutzpah, but it just was what he wanted. So my daughter Isabel was born a few weeks after Reed, and that really tied our families together. We had the babies that were growing up in parallel, but we lived on opposite sides of the country, so we saw each other. It was very nice. The Baldwins would often come out to the east for Thanksgiving, sometimes for Christmas, and we'd be in New Jersey or Massachusetts, so we'd get to see the kids at intervals, and kids, they change quickly. It's quite amazing, and it was always interesting and of course nice to see what they were doing and what the new thing was. That's a great pleasure for parents. And I guess I could talk for a long time. I was thinking about Reed, and for some reason a picture of Isabel and Reed sitting together on a blanket when they were very little comes to mind. And they were contemplating a pine cone. And I kind of like to imagine the dialogue between the two of them. We weren't speaking at that point, but if they couldn't, they might say, what on earth is this for? I don't know, maybe take a bite? It was a very sweet picture. I can just bring it up in my mind. But the reason I bring this up is that one time, I don't remember when, and I think we were out east, but Reed showed up with a black Stratocaster. I think it might be this one actually. That's a pretty old one, and it was just amazing how the music just made him alive. You could see that passion, and it was very special. It was especially meaningful to me because when I was in high school, I was a lot like Reed, and music was my thing. I turned to music to escape, and I think one of Reed's lyrics is music is the medicine. It was a lot like that. It was just an amazing outlet. So Reed and we talked about music from time to time, and that was really nice. And I have a regret that we never got to play together. But when my brother passed away many years ago, at the same age, I went through this. And I decided that the sadness is okay, it's good, it's part of life, but regrets, there's just no use for the regrets. So I always try to just leave the regrets behind. And I think that's what Reed would want us to do. So instead of regretting that we never played together, I thought, well, maybe I can write a song for Reed. So I've been trying to do that. Reed, I'm going on, I'll stop soon, but Reed, he played a lot of different instruments. He was good at them all. I was always impressed to hear his new, whatever he was doing. And Susan and Isabel and I had the pleasure of going camping with Ruby just a few days ago, so we were talking, and music, of course, came up because Ruby is also an excellent musician, and it's great to hear Ruby play her things, which are quite different from Reed's, but they're also wonderful. And Ruby told me something I didn't know. She said, well, he also played cello, which I didn't know. And then she said, I hope you won't mind me sharing this. But he only played cello because there was a girl in the orchestra that he liked. So that's what the cello was about. And I didn't tell Ruby, maybe I did. I played cello in third grade too, so I'm not going to say any more about that. But anyway, so I'm going to play a little song that I wrote. This isn't really my instrument. The instrument I played was that one, but I was partly inspired by Reed and others to try this a few years ago. I grew up with the Beatles and Hendrix, and I couldn't not try it. So this might be a little chaotic, but I'm going to give it a try. Now, I never reached the level of skill and accomplishment that Reed did, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. I've got a little device here that's going to help me out, but I'm not very good at these things, so I'm not really sure how I can make this stop. So when the sound person sees me looking over with a kind of a panicked look on my face, that's when you just pull the cord. It's just over, and I'll be thankful. Okay, so I'm gonna need to move this a little bit, I think, to be where I want to be, and
just to make it extra challenging, I can't really see my.
somewhere, someday, somehow, some way. So here comes the bass line that Reed needs to fix up for me. I hope he will. Play guitar, bass guitar, build the sandcastles, show us who we are. A paragraph, a motivation, but we all must move on to the next destination. Play guitar, bass guitar. Oh, that's not good. Try that one again. Play guitar, bass guitar, but the curve of time is awful hard. You can study the math, describe the curvature, but in the end, it's all just words. Okay, that's fine. I hope you like it, Reed.
Oh boy. All right, I'm Devin Moore. I've known Reed literally since I was born, since birth. My mom and Mrs. Baldwin were part of the Hot Mamas group, if I'm recalling that correctly. So we've kind of been joined as families since the very beginning, and I'm so grateful for that and for Reed. And Reed is my older sister's age, so he was a little older than me growing up. And I just remember just admiring him, admiring his mind, how intelligent he is. And I had a great mentor this past year, and he told me something about loss and moving through it. And he said, you mourn until the day, I mean, it sounds a little gruesome here, but till the day they're in the ground, and then from then on, they're alive again with you. And in hearing all these stories, I feel Reed again with me. And I mean, so many memories with Reed throughout my childhood, my upbringing. And like so many have said, it's like so hard to pick just one thing because it's a blur of just happiness and the family vacations and the late night dinners and you guys tearing me away from Reed at 10 o'clock. And I'm like, I don't want to go. It's so funny. But I just wanted to share a couple funny things from when I was little that come to mind right away. The big thing was Reed was like a big recommendation guy. Like if you need a recommendation for something, literally anything, you go to Reed and he'll give you a recommendation, whether it's like a book, a video game, like a new topic to obsess over, or like music, obviously. You go to Reed and he's like, I'll put you on, man. Like I'll give you like the next big thing. So like a big thing that we liked to exchange was like funny movies. And one day he brings up the movie Hot Rod, if any of you guys are familiar with the movie Hot Rod. And I had never seen it. He's like, that needs to be fixed tonight. So we go into the little movie theater area and we're watching Hot Rod. And there's this part in the movie where he's in the forest and he's dancing to like some song, I forget what, Footloose song, and he falls down the hill for like 5 minutes long, just falling down the hill. And I just remember laughing so hard with Reed, like it hurt. It was so funny. And like our parents are coming in, they're like, what's wrong with you guys? Like, is someone dying in here? No, we're just laughing at this movie. And that's kind of what it felt like with Reed all the time. Like even when we were apart for a long time and I'd come back together, there was always something to laugh about, something that he wanted to share. And that's what's so beautiful about him as a person, is he was a sharer. He was a giver in every way. And he wanted to bring joy to other people. And it's just so awesome to hear all the different people who feel the same way. And I just feel so privileged to have known Reed. He certainly made me a better person and made me more open-minded person, and made me appreciate art more than I thought I could. And I just, like I said, I feel him with me today, and every time I'm here. And I just want to thank you all for coming, and thank the Baldwin family for being so incredibly strong. And I think I speak for everyone here saying we love you so much, and we love Reed, and we still love Reed. It's not we did love Reed, we still love Reed, and we still love you, and we love you all, and thank you.
Hi, I'm Casey Moore. I'm Devin Moore's brother, and we were kind of sitting there, contemplating who was going to go up first. And so once he went first, I was like, okay, I guess I'm going second. So I've known the Baldwins since I think 3 months old. So since as long as I can remember, we came together from this Hot Moms group. So it's kind of funny that we were brought together then, and here we are all brought together now. And something I always remembered from Reed, we were the same age. I was 2 months older, but we were the same age. And he was always, Devin and him always had they were into the games, they were into the cars, and I was kind of, I was younger, so I wasn't so into that at the time, but something that Reed did, and I did have in common, was music. I went through a phase where I wish I would have been a musician, but I was super into learning guitar and all of that, and I played saxophone in, elementary school, so him and I would talk about it. And as far as guitar, he would talk to me about all the different chords, the capos, whoever mentioned the capo, I got a capo, and I think he mentioned how that helps with all the sound. But anyways, I think from what I've noticed today, it's like Reed has so many lifelong friends, and I think the Baldwins do as well. So that's something you guys have completely instilled in him, which is so cool to see just how long you guys are all able to foster incredible relationships. So again, you guys are, I just consider you guys more family at this point, because don't think I've known family friends longer than I've known you guys. So it's great celebrating your amazing son, and incredible to all be here. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Scott Bowl. Hi. First of all, thank you, Ruby, Reed, and Brick, for putting this on for us. This is the good and right and proper thing to do, and we need it too. Thank you. I met the Baldwin family in the fall of 2009 when Reed joined my middle school band program as an alto sax player. And we haven't heard too much about alto sax around here tonight, because I had learned real early on that Reed, like many students, was a guitar player embedded in a concert band. His real heart was there. But I liked Reed right away because he was funny, and he thought my jokes were funny. So we had a great 3-year experience just laughing about silly things, which tends to happen in middle school, and some people outgrow it. But what impressed me so much about Reed, first of all, in jazz band especially, was his bravery in soloing. And one of the things in middle school when people start to play an instrument is they struggle with the fingerings, and they struggle with embouchure and different things, the technical parts of playing, and so the heart part of soloing tends not to come out in middle school very much, but sometimes it does. And one of the things that I appreciated about Reed was the way he would experiment and try some things soloing. Not very often. He wasn't real brave on that, but he would also experiment with his saxophone to see how loud he could play it. I won. But he would appreciate. I appreciated the way he would take what he had and change it into something different and turn it into something new and make me always go, oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that. One of the saddest things for me as a middle school band director is the realization years ago that once kids leave 8th grade, I won't see them again, probably at all. I might see them at a high school event, maybe, but after high school graduation, I won't see them. And so I'm left with a 14-year-old image of people as they go on into the rest of their lives, which is cool, but it's not accurate. So I was real excited in March when I found out that Redfellow was on Spotify. And I started listening to his music, and I recognized that Reed had learned some new words since middle school. And so I listened to that music with headphones on at home for a while, and but I will admit that as an instrumental person, I didn't really listen to the words too much. I was listening for the groove and all the stuff that was happening, especially the bass line and some of that funky stuff that was happening. And I really appreciated what I saw again is his bravery in creating something new. The remixes, the sampling, bringing in sampling and creating something new out of what he had created was real special to me. But I discovered something more important as I listened to the lyrics later. It wasn't about the music at all for me, I don't think, for Reed. It was about the lyrics. And he was expressing something deep, deep in him that could only be expressed in the context of that music. So my takeaway from knowing Reed is that he appreciated good humor, and he was a good guitar player and all of that, but his bravery in putting it out there, I wish I was that brave. So he was an inspiration to me, and thank you for letting me be part of that.
So we have a very special performance on the docket. Not only is it very inspired by Reed, but it includes, some of his own contributions in the production. Before we get that going, is there anyone else who would like to share? By all means.
This microphone is so high. How do you put it down? Aiden! There you go. Nails are fantastic. Did Amy get them? Yes. That was really nice. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Kate. I was one of Reed's friends, and I met him in 6th grade. He was really, truly my first friend that I met in middle school. And it's a big, scary world to go to middle school. It's a lot different. You're merging with other kids you've never seen before. And he just walked right up to me and decided that he was my friend. And I decided it back. There's obviously a lot of memories that come up during that time. There was the time that we were driving back from a band trip to Sultan in, I think, 7th grade. And the bus ride was really, really bumpy. He fell asleep on my shoulder, and then we hit like a speed bump, and he just collapsed onto the ground of the bus. And then he just went right back to sleep, just directly against my legs. And I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna leave him there. Let's see. We definitely did a lot of annoying Mr. Bull, I'm sure. There was a time that I remember where we were both jamming while another band was playing. And it was during a concert, and I remember my mom was filming it, and she totally chewed me out afterwards. She was like, why are you just, you're interrupting the people? And my grandpa was like, that was so cute. Yeah. Trying to think more. I was running through so many, and now they are all slipping my mind. But he was a fantastic friend, and he loved me really, really hard in a time that I didn't really love myself, and I really needed that. And he continued to do so. And I think he loved people a lot more ferociously than anybody was used to. And it was hard to give that back sometimes, but I hope he knew that I loved him just as much. And my most recent memory of him was actually just the night before last. I had a dream about him, because I've been thinking about him a lot just in, the past couple of months, but of course this week leading up to this event. And this dream was just, we were all just sitting in the Jackson High School, cafeteria, just like we used to. And in this dream, I knew that he was gone. And that was sort of weird, because I'm never aware in my dreams. I never know that I'm in a dream, but in that moment, I knew. But I still was just grateful that I got to see him again in that way. And I woke up and I just felt really content with that, just knowing that there were ways in which I would get to see him again. So, thanks for that. Thank you.
One second here. My name's Colin. I'm Ainsley's brother. She shared a poem earlier. I just had a couple memories to share. I obviously didn't prepare for this, but I grew up, I had the kind of pleasure of watching Reed grow up as a family friend of the Baldwins. I got to babysit him and Ruby a few times. And I just remember one of, I think the most special memories I had with Reed was an afternoon when we spent probably 4.5 hours playing Rock Band together. And I think that was probably the most one-on-one time I ever had with Reed in any given moment. But I know that Ainsley and Ruby were downstairs having fun with who knows what, and I checked on him, every once in a while to make myself feel like I was a responsible babysitter.
But Reed and I were just jamming out on Rock Band, and I think this was before, or maybe right around the time he started playing guitar. But it was just a really special afternoon that we spent together. I kind of got to see a different side of him than the one that I'd known before. Reed was the same, or about the same age as my sister, so it really was a shock to hear about the accident, and my heart goes out to the Baldwins. And one other kind of funny memory I had was one New Year's, we all rented a house together to celebrate, and that was an amazing time together. And we were playing some music downstairs, and Reed, I don't even know, I wonder if he ever listened to the Pixies again after that. I'm not sure, but for some reason this really stuck out in my mind. He really loved that song, Where's My Mind, like my sister mentioned, and so I think we played that at least 10 times in a row. And after I got home, I think I realized that Reed might have accidentally scratched my guitar, and for some reason I just got really frustrated about that. It wasn't a big deal, but I completely forgot about it until after I had heard the news, and I went and looked at my guitar, and the scratch is still there, and something that frustrated, petty teenage me is now a special reminder of him, and I'll think of him every time I play that guitar. So, much love to the Baldwins.
My name is Alan, Reed's uncle. I had the pleasure of watching Reed grow up, and I got to see a lot of different ages and phases of Reed, and I'd like to share a few stories. Spent some time babysitting Reed and Ruby. Love you, Ruby. As an uncle, I felt it was my job to do inappropriate things, to teach Reed inappropriate things. G-rated, mind, G-rated. And so little tiny Reed, I thought I would teach him a bit from, do you remember the TV show Different Strokes? Some of you may remember Different Strokes. Gary Coleman, and when he would get upset or got some news he didn't want, he'd stick out his lower lip, and he'd look at his brother, and he'd say, "What you talking about, Willis?" His older brother was Willis. So I decided I was going to teach this to Reed. And so I taught it to him. He never did it. I forgot about it. 2 years later, I get a phone call from Brick. I get a phone call. Why did you teach him that? Brick had given Reed some news that he wasn't welcome news. And Reed performed perfectly and on cue. Out came the lower lip. What you talking about, Willis? So I'm doing my job as an uncle, teaching him inappropriate things. In later years, Reed went from being, the goofy kid with the ready smile. And we saw a little less of him. We'd see him at Christmas, and he began to be a little bit of an enigma. I would see him at Jazz Alley. That was a big thrill for us, performing. We watched Ruby perform at Jazz Alley. But I began to wonder, who is this young man? Who is he going to become? And I got such a wonderful surprise in 2016. I had become a delegate for the Bernie Sanders campaign, and I find out my nephew, just out of high school, is also going to be a delegate for Bernie Sanders. What high school kid, fresh out of high school, who does that? And in listening to these stories today, I'm reminded one of the things that I love so much about Reed was his passion. Whether it was video games, whether it was music, when he was into something, he was into something, and he let you know it, and he wasn't ashamed of it. He was into it, and it's just to see that kind of passion was refreshing. And he was passionate about Bernie Sanders, and he would talk to you about Bernie Sanders and his ideas. I want to close by talking about a little bit about my family and what some have called the nature of death. My family, traditionally, we haven't shared a lot about death, and when somebody passes, they were never talked about much. It was certainly true with my uncle and my namesake. My father named me after his brother, and his brother was killed in World War II, and his family was extremely uptight, very guarded, keep those feelings down here, and I don't know that they ever spoke about Alan much. I tried to get information from my father's sister, and she didn't want to talk much. So, just a lesson for my children and all of you. Keep talking about your loved ones. I've heard it said each of us dies 3 times. Once is when we leave this earth. The second time we die is when people stop talking about you, saying your name. And the third time that we die is when the last person who knew you on earth leaves this earth. So love those close to you, love your departed, talk about them, keep saying their name. I want to say thank you to the Baldwins for giving us Ruby and Reed and sharing him with us. Thank you.
Before our final performance, would anyone else like to share? All right. Well, we have Michael and King coming up to play some music. And as they get set up, I had an idea. We don't have to do it. I promise that. But by a show of yays, nays, hands, would there be enough people interested in maybe singing like one word together in this song? All right. Anyone happen to see that black 1/4-inch cable?
Looks like. Oh, right there. There you go. You are an absolute babe. I got you.
All right. Well, this is a song that I feel like many of you might make you think of Reed as well as it does me. But I think it's fitting for how we all feel right now. It's called Still Together, and as we can all feel, we are still together, and we always will be with him. I also saw him dance like crazy to this song once, so that was pretty cool. Guitar goes out of tune when you lay it in the grass. That's a pro tip.
Did Reed teach you that?
He did teach me. Yeah, he taught me that one too. let you know how it goes. So, when I go like, or what have you, we'll go together. Come on, try that. 1, 2, 3. Together. Then again. Together. You guys are amazing. If anyone else knows the words, maybe Joe, feel free to just scream them along too. And let's do this, and then we'll make this work, and then we'll have some beautiful music afterwards. In time you'll see that you and me were meant to be together. And time may pass, it may go fast, but we'll still be together. And where I go, you're at my side, half of my life together. It's easy love, fits like a glove from up above. Together, here we go. Together. Together. Gorgeous. Notice fair, I've had my share, that we should be together. But if it's fine that I've done my time, we'll lock the line together. And when I'm low, we'll always know, we'll always go together. It's easy love, fits like a glove from up above. Together. All right. Can do one more time. Let's just make it loud. Ready? Oh yeah. One more time. Thank you so much. There's no way Reed did not hear that. And without further ado, King and Michael, about to melt some faces. Need this, Michael? I'm gonna try this. Cool. Sorry. Sorry, I'm small. Yeah.
Hey everyone, my name's King, I went to Jackson High School, same as Reed. Michael and I did. 4 years his senior. I remember him being this small little redhead freshman, and he would run behind me and be like, "King!" And I'd be like, "Reed, what's up, man?" You know? He always, just loved just watching me and my band play and just seeing all the stuff we would get into. And after I graduated, I didn't really see much of him until 2019. He DM'd me. He's like, "Hey, man, I just want to let you know I'm doing music, and I have my own studio, and I want to, just get your opinion on some of the music I'm working on." And I'm like, "Dude, yeah, that would be awesome. Let's do it." And he's like, "Yeah, and if you ever want to record here, you can come over." And I was like, "Perfect," because before that, I was just, I didn't have a studio I was recording at. I would kind of do like long distance stuff with my producers. And I came to his house, and he had the whole setup, and I'm just like, "Oh my God, this kid's for real." And he would just show me some of his stuff and from the Peppermint album that he was working on. And he's like, "Yeah, dude, I would like to have you do a verse if you were into it, and yeah, we can work on some of your own projects." And so we just kind of got to work. That was like the fall of 2019. Up until 2020, we worked on 2 projects and did a couple singles. His first and last show was with me at the Vermilion before the pandemic happened. I remember showing Michael the stuff we were getting ready for it, and Michael's like, "Who produced this?" And I was like, "Reed, man." And he's like, "Well, damn." So it was just beautiful. And one thing I always remember, just like someone said earlier, his mind. He was a very deep thinker, and as Michael knows, I like to think a lot myself, and we just have these crazy conversations about music and politics in the world. And one thing Reed wanted to see more of was just more love in the world. We both agree that there's too much division, especially when it came to just things that didn't matter, trivial things such as like politics and all that stuff. And so we believed in like what we were doing in that moment was going to do something that was going to. We didn't know like how big of an impact our energy would have together, but he changed my life more than he ever knows with the music and the things he's taught me. And to this day, like, he's always in my head. Anytime I have any anxiety, anytime I'm like stressed out about something, I just remember the stuff we did together, and it keeps me going. So I chose 5 songs, 4 that he produced and mixed and worked on, and 1 that we'll end with that we dedicated to him that Michael produced that I wrote, titled Red Fellow. We'll start with the first one. The first song beat he showed me that he produced for me, and we called it Coco. I hope you guys enjoy it, and we'd like to get some audience participation if you guys are into it. So yeah, let's get started. Let's clap.
Come now, Coco, why you tryna waste my time? I know that you see my shine. Come now, Coco, I know that you wanna be mine, but being with you's a crime. Come now, Coco, why you tryna waste my time? I know that you see my shine. Come now, Coco, I know that you wanna be mine, but being with you's a crime. Pipe down, Coco, you've been messing with the mojo. Being too close is a no-no. There you go, talking about kids in the social. Only 18 is you local. Now I know though, ever since I had you over, you've been sitting plowing like a cobra. Guess it makes sense, your sister never had no sense. Now it shows like a dent. Come now, Coco, why you tryna waste my time? I know that you see my shine. Come now, Coco, I know that you wanna be mine, but being with you's a crime. Come now, Coco, why you tryna waste my time? I know that you see my shine. Come now, Coco, I know that you wanna be mine, but being with you's a crime. You be acting lit so lazy, changing subjects is you crazy. Why so hasty? Just met, now you want a baby. Psycho tendencies of the Swayze. I thank God we never thought could have been the cause of me trying to get a job. You're so off, ratchet vibes coming up the clock. Doesn't even turn me on. There's no trust. Every Mac I move you huff. Insecure as fuck, this a bust. This ain't clean, no MJ, Billie Jean. Might have to flee this scene. I chase greed, you a parasite so mean. No life goes in between. Suck my cream, that's all you crave it seems. All my shit can't breathe. Come now, Coco, why you tryna waste my time? I know that you see my shine. Come now, Coco, I know that you wanna be mine, but being with you's a crime. Come now, Coco, why you tryna waste my time? I know that you see my shine. Come now, Coco, I know that you wanna be mine, but being with you's a crime. Come now, Coco, why you tryna waste my time? I know that you see my shine. Come now, Coco, I know that you wanna be mine, but being with you's a crime. Come now, Coco, why you tryna waste my time? I know that you see my shine. Come now, Coco, I know that you wanna be mine, but being with you's a crime.
Thank you guys, Coco. Shout out Reed, man. He was way ahead of his time. Like, he was smart. These next three are from my one of the two EPs we did together, titled Energy. And it's one of my best projects to date. Like during the quarantine when we finished it and put it out on my birthday, April 24th. I just got like a big reaction, a lot of new fans, and I would always text Reed like, dude, this is crazy. Look at what we're doing. He's like, nah, man, that's all you. And I'm like, no, dude, that's us, bro. Like, we did that, you know? So it was just beautiful. And Reed was very meticulous in the studio. I remember I'd be like, what do you think of that? And he'd just take a quick hit of his bomb and be, yeah, let's try something else. Let's switch this up a little bit. He was so into it, you know, like have his hoodie on all the time, but just really at it. And yeah, he was just a riot, and he taught me a lot about just like vocal changing and just adding different, you know, harmonies and stuff to my voice. Like he would say I taught him a lot, but he showed me so much that, you know, like I said, that I always carry with me. So this next one's titled Bond, and I think this is very fitting because, you know, all the themes that we've been carrying during our testimonies today is about love, and looking at everyone here, Reed was very loved. You know, he said like he didn't have friends, but contrary to the fact that he had so many family, brothers, sisters, loved ones. So this one goes out to him, titled Bond.
All I need is your love, and I can be a dove. I said all I need is your love, and I can be a dove. All I need is your love, and I can be a dove. I said all I need is your love, and I can be a dove. All I ever needed was your energy, positivity and perfect harmony. You were like a mermaid, call you Ariel. Beauty in your smile was so hysterical. Now I'm on a wave, no sign of turning back. You were in the dream I had, hope you knew that. Seems like God eternal, I'm no Han Solo. Journey on my own alone, just like Frodo. Moving steady to the racks, moving mountains, lumberjack. Hard working on my path, she want top, I might smash. But I'm focused, no relax. Music's calling, I relapse. Only way that I react, hit record, I will spaz. All I need is your love, let's see our hands. And I can be a dove. I said all I need for Reed is your love, and I can be a dove. All I need is your love, and I can be a dove. I said all I need is your love, and I can be a dove. In my motion, I've been working, never sleeping, only cooking. Gotta move it, keep it pushing. Know the love is what is creeping. I am helpless, no more breathing. You complete me, that's a given. Why we tripping? Why not living? Why we tripping? Why not living?
Thank you, Bond. All right, this next one also off the Energy Project, titled Reflection. This one I think is very fitting because we've been all reflecting on the beautiful memories we've had with Reed. I especially like this one too because I feel like, I mean, I did the lyrics, but I feel like it's something that from his Peppermint project, similar theme as far as just like we want to be with our music. You know, we'd have these conversations like we just want to, you know, provide for our families and just like do things that can change the world for the better, trying to find our own way, you know. So reflection. Hope you guys enjoy this next one. Riding, sliding, hoping that I set a new way. Open book and fill my own page. Things gon' change. Take one look, I'm not the same. Riding, sliding, hoping that I set a new way. Open book and fill my own page. Things gon' change. Take one look, I'm not the same. Oh look, everyone's a critic, thinking they know you, tell them I'll forget it. New Year starting, I am committed to making my dreams come fully and embedded. I cannot regret it, music is a fetish, so I have to keep the message, clean up all the edges. Clean up all the edges. Thankful for the things that I've seen, going through life has fueled my esteem. All the lonely walks kept me focused on the vision. I'm not made choice past my petition to keep it in the clear. There is no fear, bending the law, pushing fourth gear. So, yeah. Riding, sliding, hoping that I set a new way. Open book and fill my own page. Things gon' change, take one look, I'm not the same. Riding, sliding, hoping that I set a new way. Open book and fill my own page. Things gon' change, take one look, I'm not the same. Mama left the house real fast with a misery. Bills stacking up, me and brother gotta make a treat. Spoke to granddaddy, he told me I'ma make a G. Friends tell me hit him if I ever need a single thing. Fucking sick of all the debt, I just wanna see a check. I just wanna be the best, I just wanna sit and rest. I just wanna book a show, take the film and audios, get away from all this road, build a screen and watch it grow. This is everything I know since I was a little bro. Music is the sentiment, write a song and let it go. This is true legacy, reaching my new destiny. Worry mine is over, sharper than a cobra. Working on my studies, shout out Deepak Chopra. Working on my studies, shout out Deepak Chopra. Riding, sliding, hoping that I set a new way. Open book and fill my own page. Things don't change, take one look, I'm not the same. Thank you guys. Got two more for you guys. This next one's titled Mental Note. This one's really cool. Watching Reed kind of put some of the music together and, you know, looking up the sax sample, he showed me where he got it. You know, he was also in jazz band, so we would talk hours on end about jazz and just incorporating that within the music. Yeah, it was just, this is one of Michael's favorites too, so I'm glad we got a chance to perform it for you guys. Yeah, Mental Note. When I think about this, the mental note for me is, like I've said, is Reed and just the things we've talked about. And anytime, I want you guys to remember, anytime you feel like you're alone or worried about something, just, you know, just have that mental image of Reed and all those beautiful memories. Because as his uncle said, people died 3 times, but as long as you keep their mind, their memory, and their words still within, they never die, and he'll never die. So, mental note.
Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note. Mental note control it, I know it, I gotta win. Always in the moment, I show it, I never sin. Stay sanctified like the Messiah, I am within. Always on her mind. She saw me on Facebook, now she wants to intertwine. Had to stop and tell her I do not waste time. Music is my only wife, so I keep her in line. And I keep her in line. Let her off easy, but apparently they do not understand. No, see, gotta be assertive when you're dealing with risky bitches who be wanting only one thing, money. In a place to suck energy, had to dodge a bullet, she was getting too comfy. Never overlooking bullshit within beauty. Gotta watch her back in a sea full of shark seas. That's what I've learned when dealing with ex exes. Never let a chick play you back to Nexus. Always to the next, yeehaw, no Texas. Keep a condom on, mental protection. Better yet, swipe left. Suddenly for less is plain nonsense. In essence, stay clear, just vent. Priorities in line, I don't even relent. Hey! Michael Henning, everyone.
Yeah, that one has a music video with break dancers and all that stuff. And it was awesome sharing that with you. So thank you guys. Genius producer, genius artist, just amazing person. This last one, Tato Redfellow, named after him. You know, after I got the news April 1st of his car crash, and the irony of it being on April Fool's Day, I didn't want to believe it, you know, and that shook me for like a month or so, and I needed closure for myself. So after talking to Michael and talking about what we could do leading up to this, he presented me that beat he showed me back in May, and I wrote this after him, which basically encompasses like our whole relationship. I mean, there's only so much you can say in like a 2-3 minute song, but I just wanted to, you know, just touch on the very themes of what we did and what we're going to continue doing, you know, with our memory and the music that's out there and more that we have together that's to come. So this is for him, Redfellow.
Let me show you how I ate. Let me show you how I ate. Hold up. Let me show you how I ate. Let me show you how I. Let me show you how I. Let me show you how I ate. Let me show you how I ate. Hold up. Let me show you how I ate. Let me show you how I. Let me show you how I. First off, rest in peace to Redfellow. First engineer that I had since I was ready though. Chopping up this music in the basement in the cloudy smoke. We were sitting in the moment, always ready with the flow. First we made Coco, then we made that low. Chopping singles in the EP, so fast, never slow. 2019 moved like lightning, couldn't catch us so. We've been coming very frightening and it really showed. Daily combo yo, magic new duo. At this time I was defining the kingdom approach. Fuck a cockroach, you be nubby roast. Cannot stop me, I am plotting how to make my toast. Propelling fire, heavy fire, cause I'm waiting for it. Call me Messiah, can't see Maya, I am way too woke. Beats on my team, we get cream, cause we cool fellows. Just like my nigga in the spirit, he can see the growth. Let me show you how I ate. Let me show you how I ate. Hold up, let me show you how I ate. Let me show you how I. Let me show you how I. Let me show you how I ate. Let me show you how I ate. Let me show you how I ate. Let me show you how I. Let me show you how I. Let me show. Yeah. Let me show.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Baldwins, for putting this together and, giving us a very special person that we'll never forget. And this is a celebration. Sadness is a part of celebrating. Happiness is celebrating. So, yes, let's continue to celebrate his life forever. Thank you.
God of life and death, we acknowledge the reality of death. Although it separates us from our loved ones, make us aware that it is only for a brief time. Although it brings grief, may we look to your Spirit to bring comfort and peace. Although it brings disappointment, give us faith to look to the future with hope and confidence and courage. Now abide with our friends, our family, our loved ones throughout the coming days. Please stay and try some of Reed's favorite foods. Grab Reed's music CD over here and meet some of Reed's favorite people and create a luminary that the family will light this evening. That's over here in the back on the right. Thank you. Thank you.
Is the volume on the yellow cord down? Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Yeah. Do you want me to go walk through the crowd? That's just me.